Welcome back on this glorious and amazing day, and thanks for listening. I already lost the number how many clips we have made. If my child would come to me, this is what I would do. First of all, I'll do what I mentioned a few clips ago. I would actually just sit and talk, or send them to someone they feel comfortable to talk. And the most important thing is, I would share with them the information that I shared with you a few weeks ago, and that is, I understand the way you feel. Let's say the therapy didn't work. And let's say everything I mentioned earlier is baloney. They had the best father, they had the best mother, they weren't molested. I'm very doubtful of all that, but let's say, for argument's sake. The next thing I would go and I would say there's two challenges. One challenge is for you to stay in your body, which is very difficult for you. As a male, you don't feel comfortable in your body and it grosses you out. As a female, you don't want to stay in the female body, it grosses you out. Maybe we should look together in evidence. We should look at evidence of people that have done it 10 or 20 years ago, and let's sit down, meet with them personally. Because there's certain things you do that you could turn it back if you don't like it. You buy a car, you don't like it, well, there's a little bit you're going to lose the value, because once it goes off the parking lot, I forget the percentage that you lose. This is something very, very big. And you could give them an example that I have right now that just came to mind. I have a friend at a very young age. Well, not really a friend, I know him. And at a very young age, because he was going through his stuff, he thought he likes tattoos. Tattoos is not something, well, there's two categories. One category is because your family does it, so you do it. But many times it's because it's to cover up on other stuff. Like if you take a $50 million diamond and you take crayons and start coloring on it, something is wrong. I don't color on $50 million diamonds, okay? So as a youngster, he got a whole bunch of tattoos and he grew up. And he says, this is crazy. I love my skin. I love me. What does he do? He has to go to surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery. So you have a very warm talk, not to say it's right or wrong, but more, let's find out the data. Because if you do it, and like many people, after 5 years, it still didn't bring them happiness, because that wasn't the real reason, like we explained in great, great detail. I just watched a documentary recently ago, or I listened to, no, it wasn't a documentary, it wasn't the radio. Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember the details. Just a few weeks ago when I was driving back. And this guy spoke about how he had the surgery both ways. Oh my gosh. He was male, went to female, and then went back. I mean, oh my God, this is terrible. And I don't blame so much social media and society, who I'm really upset at. And I think they have, if I could say, blood in their hands. They have a huge responsibility. Is the world of therapists. I don't know where they are. Where are they? Where is the world of therapists that understand the human soul? Sorry. So you go back to your child and you tell them that of course you feel horrible, but sometimes running away from one place and going to another place won't help. I'm reminded of another fascinating story. So it all comes to me as I talk. True story. I'm going to have to omit the details because I don't want you to find out who the person is, and it's personal. But basically, this guy was brought up in a certain country, a certain city, and he hated it, and the people were wicked, and the people were bad, and blah, blah, blah. And I heard all the stories. This wasn't someone that was my client, someone that I knew, and I will not specify how I knew him or whatever. So, in his adult life, he moves to a different country. He's happy. He's away from this terrible place he used to be, with stories that you could fill up maybe 5 volumes how terrible they are. What happens? What happens usually? It's not the places that you are, but it is the color of your lenses, and that's what you're going to see around you. And he comes to this other city, and after a few years, it's the same story all over again. It was years, it wasn't months, it was years. Then he moves to a third city. And this man right now is in his 50s or 60s, and he's traveling, 10 chunks per city to country. And then where does he end up? Exactly where he started with. My dear child, it's horrible what you're going through. But for you to move, for you to buy a house, even tattoos, these are everything you could reverse. You could reverse. This is something that's going to be very painful. I'm not saying not to do it. What I'm saying is find out data from people that have done it 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. Let's listen to them. It's going to give them a different perspective. First of all, it's not about yes or no. It's about, oh, so that might not make me happy. No, that might not make you happy. Because deep, as I mentioned before, and I'm sure in the next 30, 40 years, there'll be a lot of evidence of what I'm saying right now. And this whole concept in 40 years will be reversed. And I'll be sitting without my teeth and I'll tell you, I told you so. In July, in August, in 2021, I told you so. I even forgot, but I'm watching my own YouTubes. But that's the way the world works. It takes a long, long time. There has to be so much evidence and so many years for it not to work. I'm not even looking at the concept of working and not working. I'm looking at the soul, the human. Therefore, I have a very different perspective. It's not do we do it or we don't do it. Let's listen to what's going on. There's always a lot of depth to what's going on. Thank you for joining me. Have yourself a wonderful and delightful day and week. And always remember, you're greater than you think you are.